Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good, I hope.
Yeah.
Welcome. My name's Amanda, and I'm joined with AK and Gerald. We've got a jam-packed session today, so let's kick things off. Well, actually, let's have Ava kick things off.
Hallo, ich bin Ava, Ihre virtuelle Assistentin. Ich bin in der Startphase und kann Ihnen für den Anfang bei ersten Banking-Themen weiterhelfen. Welches Thema interessiert Sie?
Ich würde gerne eine neue Kreditkarte bestellen.
Vielen Dank für Ihr Anliegen. Ich habe verstanden, dass Sie eine neue Karte beantragen möchten. Zu welchem Konto wollen Sie die Karte bestellen?
Gerne für das Klassikkonto.
Sie können eine der folgenden 8 Karten bestellen, die Ihnen auf Ihrem Bildschirm angezeigt werden. Bitte nennen Sie mir die Karte, die Sie nun bestellen möchten.
Gerne die Visa Classic.
Die Karte wird für Ihr Classic-Konto bestellt. Sie haben die Visa Classic für 39,90 € pro Jahr ausgewählt. Wenn Sie damit einverstanden sind, sagen Sie bitte, ja, ich stimme zu, und ich sende Ihnen die Fototan zu.
Ja, ich stimme zu. Danke, Ava. Mit Ava geht's so schnell und einfach wie noch nie. Und wenn ich doch mal einen Experten brauche, leitet Ava mich weiter.
It felt like I was speaking to an actual bank employee. She could handle all of my requests with ease, and I was done in no time. It was really fun. For me, the visualization of the required information is really useful, and she looks like a real person just on my phone.
Awesome.
Awesome. As we just saw, Commerzbank is reimagining banking on behalf of their customers thanks to Ava, which is built using Microsoft's Agent Framework and Microsoft's Agent Service. Ava now manages over 30,000 customer requests every month and autonomously will resolve over 75% of them. We're very fortunate to have Gerald Ertl here, who's the strategic AI program lead at Commerzbank, and later he'll actually join us on stage to share his experience, vision, and advice for leading AI transformation in an enterprise setting. But before that, for the next 25 minutes or so, we are going to explore some of the challenges that come with building enterprise-ready agents and how Microsoft Foundry can help. So let's take a step back, though, before we get into that. Why are we here? As you've probably heard way too many times this conference, the age of AI agents has arrived, and it's accelerating quickly. Thousands of agents are already being deployed into production, and Gartner predicts by 2028, 15% of day-to-day work is going to be done by autonomous agents. And with momentum moving this fast, companies do not want to get left behind. So the question is now not should we build these agents, it's how do we build agents we trust? And the very strengths that make agents so powerful are kind of a double-edged sword because they also introduce new risks. As organizations scale their agentic systems, those risks can compound pretty quickly. And the data shows just how fast the pressure is building. 88% of organizations plan to deploy AI agents, yet most lack the identity and governance systems needed to actually prevent agent sprawl and other risks. Leaders are concerned about prompt injection attacks, and over half of these successful attacks are expected to exploit access control gaps. In this landscape, trust becomes truly the deciding factor whether agents move from pilot to production. One commonality we are seeing across all customers is at every stage in the agent lifecycle, there are new risks and requirements. In setup, customers have security and compliance policies they have to meet. In development, they need to ensure agents are securely accessing their data and integrating with their systems. In publishing, they need a way to securely share agents with others in their organization. And in production, they need a way to manage this agent fleet at scale. These needs cannot be met with a one-off tool or an after-the-fact fix. What customers need is a blueprint. And really, what does this blueprint look like? Well, AK is now going to show us.
Thanks, Amanda. Foundry is the blueprint that we've built to help companies move through the set of problems that we just talked about. So it's a unified, interoperable platform to build, optimize, and govern AI apps and agents at scale, along with the original models that you might be used to. But through all these, we bake security and safety into every layer of the AI apps and agents. The agent service is a piece that brings together the models, tools, IQ, together into a single hosted service and runtime that helps developers manage conversations, orchestrate tools calls, and enforces content safety policy and Entra ID. Now, with Foundry, the life cycle of development is like traditional app development. You're going through setup, development, publishing, and production. Through each of these, we have challenges that enterprises and teams, developer teams, face. First, none of the customers come to us and say we immediately want to use Foundry. They ask if we have the bare line networking compliance and security requirements that they all actually need from their individual teams and compliance officers. So what are generally enterprise constraints? You have network isolation, an interesting challenge we've had to solve along with the agent service, which is an orchestration layer. Identity and access control is a big one we'll be talking about later today. Data protection, policies and monitoring, in addition to the RAI policies that you've seen before, making sure that Azure and Entra admins both get the appropriate amount of control over all the cool things devs are trying to build. Of course, quota and cost management is a big thing that companies have been bringing up in recent times. And finally, how do you make sure you're doing infrastructure as code, making sure they fit in with the Terraform biceps that you're already using inside your company so you don't have to redo your setup before even trying to use these. As part of that, we want to talk about a few different announcements today, some that were already available, some that are new. The two few callouts that we'll have here is on AI Gateway for the virtual networks, bringing your own virtual networks and managed virtual networks, which are coming soon, for the network security perimeters that the companies are defining. In the AI Gateway, which we'll have a demo on later, the customers can govern models, load balance, or log, make sure that people aren't abusing the centralized company resources, or even now developers trying to publish MCP servers. How do you make sure that these gateways can provide observability, logging, rate limiting, and all of that with the traditional Azure API management, now with a flavor built into Foundry. Cost management is another one here that companies have brought up recently. But once you get started, you need to be a true force multiplier. So agents need access to all the same tools and knowledge as the people they support. So you need the same secure, observable flows that you might have for human users. Now, as part of this, for building the agents, we actually have a few new cool things. In addition to all these, I'm actually going to call out two of them, the Foundry IQ and tools, which are probably things you heard in the keynote or earlier sessions. The Foundry IQ, you can centralize all of your company's secure data sources like SharePoint, your knowledge bases, Fabric, into a single grounding API and knowledge layer for your agentic apps or traditional apps that you can make sure have all the same purview and sensitivity label classifications, along with respecting the end user permissions instead of giving your agent access to all the data by default. So I think that's a pretty interesting pivot that we have here. For Foundry tools, now you can help, I think people saw in the keynote, this is something that's extremely useful for us internally, is the agent being able to talk to Word or your emails the same way that you as a user of these agents might. And that was called A365 there. With Foundry tools, you can make sure these agents operate on the same secure data estate that your humans already are using. So across both of those, we're now going to talk a little bit about the AI Gateway demo for Foundry.
So now let's switch over. We've done a lot of talking, so now let's see some of these superpowers in action, because, of course, being able to trust your agent starts with having the right controls in place. For this first demo, we'll show how you can apply tool-level controls with AI Gateway, as well as agent-level controls with guardrails. In my first demo, I'm going to have us imagine that we're a company that has internal services that aren't scaled, and these services are exposed via MCP servers. That's why we need a way to prevent overuse, and the way we're going to do that is with a rate limit policy that we're going to set with AI Gateway. So let's jump into it. We have already configured and set up AI Gateway for our project, and what that means is every single MCP and Open API tool that we connect will automatically have AI Gateway enabled. So when I connect my tool, it's being awfully slow today. When I connect my tool, you will see that automatically it has AI Gateway enabled. And now let's add this to our agent. Once that's been added, let's actually switch over to our APEM resource. And if I refresh, you will see the dedicated MCP endpoint, and we can actually apply a policy. So like I said earlier, we are going to set a rate limiting policy. And sorry for the spacing, it does work. This policy will make it so that this tool can only be called twice every minute. So let's see this in action. Because this is a Foundry Product Genius agent, today we're going to ask it questions about Foundry. And it's responded. Now let's ask it another question. We're asking it what models does Foundry Agent Service support? And finally, let's ask one more question. And if our agent is behaving as it should, we should hit a rate limiting. Yep, we've hit it. So now let's try something a little bit different. I'm going to see how this agent responds to a prompt injection attack. And if you look, our agent has actually responded correctly because it's been blocked by a default built-in safety guardrail. So if we switch over to the Guardrails tab, you will see that by default, all agents and models in Foundry have a guardrail that blocks against a wide variety of risks, and these cannot be edited and cannot be deleted because they are there for a good reason. But if you want to extend these controls, you can actually create custom guardrails. So something I could do is select one of these risk categories, say hate, and bump up the security level to the highest blocking. And then I could update this control, select the agents I wanted to be covered. Let's select our Product Genius agent. And then from here, I would have a custom guardrail applied to my agents. So now we've seen how we can build trustworthy agents by applying controls, but let's now switch over to the next step in our product journey, which is publishing. Now that I've built an agent and I trust this agent, I need a way to share this with teammates in my organization or with my external customers. To publish an agent safely, it needs a trusted identity. And that's where Microsoft Entra ID comes in. Through Foundry's native integration with Microsoft Entra ID, identities are managed for you throughout the entire agent lifecycle. So far, every agent we've interacted with has been an unpublished agent, and all unpublished agents in your Foundry project share a default agent identity. And the reason they share an identity is because it simplifies administration and it makes it so there's a reduced agent sprawl, as many of these agents will never actually be promoted into production use cases. But once you publish an agent, it does need its own dedicated identity because you want it to have its own controls, auditability, and lifecycle in the Microsoft ecosystem. So what do you get now with this identity? Microsoft Entra Agent ID brings the same controls that you have for users to agents. And with an agent identity, every agent can be recognized, authenticated, and governed with the controls you're already used to, letting IT teams apply conditional access policies, identity protection, identity governance, and network policies. And with this model in place, truly organizations gain a way to discover, govern, and protect their agents' access in one unified experience with existing Entra controls. So now I'm going to pass it off to AK because identity is only one part of the publishing experience to give us some more information.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. So you might have seen me on my phone. I was just emailing my friend agent that works at the same company as us. But actually, let's talk about what I just did. The coolest feature about publishing to M365 or Agent 365 is now not just a developer toy running on a laptop or a service that they're hosting, being able to invoke it. You can consume these agents in the canvases that your users are already using, Outlook, Teams, etc. So by being able to talk to them, you can go directly from Foundry with now Entra Agent ID, make sure that it's a governed access to all these resources, and Agent 365 pushes these into the same canvas. And now swapping over, are you ready?
Yeah, swapping over, you can see we have already received a response back from our agent. AK had asked this agent to help plan some marketing campaigns, and the agent has crafted a response in the time AK was talking to us.
And that's my real email, by the way, as you can tell.
But that's just one of the capabilities that Foundry agents published to Agent 365 can do. Truthfully, these agents really interact like any other teammate. You can invite them to meetings, you can add them and collaborate with them on documents, and you can add them to Teams chats, just like I just have. This 𝗲𝗲 marketing agent has access to all of our product information, as well as engagement details that show all of our metrics across a wide variety of social media platforms. Looks like our agent has already given us a response with all the products we sell. And now I'm asking the agent to draft a blog post advertising one of these products, and it should create a Word doc. And while this is interesting, it's not particularly new. So let me show you what is new. All of these agents actually have a user identity. And what that means is they have their own dedicated email address, they have their own dedicated alias, and they even have their own place in an org chart. As you can see, I'm the manager of this agent, and I'm actually already the manager of a whole team of agents that I've built.
Performance reviews due in December.
Switching back over, it looks like our blog post is already ready. Woo! But
it's actually cool.
The collaboration with agents doesn't stop there, because I can actually directly tag them in posts. And let's find my 𝗲𝗲 marketing agent, and I can ask it questions. I'm going to ask it, what is the price of this product compared to others we sell? And then the agent will respond to me. But now I'm going to show one more task our agent can do. Looks like I received an email, and because I'm at Microsoft Ignite, I don't have time to do this, so my agent will do it for me. I'm going to directly tag my 𝗲𝗲 marketing agent, and it should be able to perform this task on my behalf. So now the agents are hard at work. We'll show the results back. But just like any other human, they need some time to complete their task. But I think now that this agent is in production, we're at a really important stage in the agent lifecycle, because when they're in production, there's a whole new set of challenges that we face. We need a way to ensure these agents are always on task, ensure that we can improve their performance over time, and ensure that there's no security risks or breaches. One thing that luckily with Agent ID we can do is there's a whole slew of security controls that in Entra that apply to agents. So now I'm going to show you how we could actually configure a conditional access policy to block risky agents. So in the Microsoft Entra Admin Center, I'm going to create a new policy to block all risky agents. I'm going to set this policy so it is on all resources, and I'm going to decide to block all high-risk agents, and I'm going to enable this policy. And once I've created this, I can actually go to my identity protection dashboard, and risky agents will be flagged automatically for me. As you can see, I've already had one of my agents flagged as a risky agent, and from there I can confirm it's safe or actually disable the agent. But one more feature I want to show you in this experience, which I might have briefly mentioned earlier, is now in the Entra Admin Center, we have an inventory of every agent in your tenant across Microsoft. Whether it's created in Foundry, Copilot Studio, a third-party agent you register, it's all here in this one unified view. For example, I can actually look up the 𝗲𝗲 marketing agent we've been interacting with so far, and you'll see it here. And in this experience, I'll see all information about this agent, who has access to it. If I go to the Owners and Sponsors tab, you'll see I'm its manager as well as its sponsor, and so much more. But now that we've shown how we can actually configure security policies for these, oh wait, looks like we got some responses. Okay, it gave us some information on the price, which is what I had tagged it in the document. And then it looks like it might still be thinking on the other one, so we can check back later. But now I'm going to pass it off to AK to tell us more about how we can truly manage our production agent fleet.
Thanks, Amanda. That was all live and much more risky than I would have taken on. Thank you. So now, once we get these into production, you've seen Entra to manage the conditional access policies and Entra admins to block. In Foundry, though, we have, for Azure admins or administrators of multiple agents that are deployed, we have the Foundry Control Plane. I don't know if you guys saw raise your hand if you attended the Control Plane session earlier this morning. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So as a developer myself, I really didn't understand the value of this until earlier this week when I was finding out issues with these different agents. This Foundry Control Plane integrates with the Entra Agent ID, and it gives you the control over every agent in the subscription as well. So why don't I quickly switch over to show what this thing actually looks like. So here in the here in the Foundry Control Plane, you can sort of see an overview, a dashboard across all of the different, as developers, we have access to way too many subscriptions and projects. I've filtered it down here. You can see the estimated costs, the success rates, the token usage, and any alerts for policies that you've set across your company and organization. And we'll talk a little bit about what those look like there, along with how these success rates are trending over time in a simple, nice overview dashboard. But more than that, what do these agents actually come from? They don't just have to come from Foundry. So now taking a look at maybe just one project here. Taking a look at just one, you can also register agents that aren't built in Foundry. So a lot of developers, using LangGraph or other open source tooling, they might already have deployed an agent, and being able to connect those in the Foundry Control Plane doesn't limit your developers from innovating however they like, but still gives you the control for making sure that the Entra Agent ID and tracing are all visible in one place. So here with the AI gateway that's already created, you can register an externally deployed agent. Here in Foundry, though, you can see that anything that was deployed as a Foundry agent, for example, you just saw the Entra Agent ID present here for this one. You can monitor these from a dashboard regardless of where your developers are actually publishing these. Now, finally, the compliance and policies that we talked about. Amanda doesn't like the agents in her company having curse words, so that's the policy that we made over here. But the security posture alert that you saw earlier was because we actually set up a resource with API keys. Developers are lazy. You start out with an API key, not Entra ID access, something to get started, but you're like, hey, no, this is no good. So it shows up in your policy here, and you can now take action to remediate, work with that developer, and get that thing turned off. So that's Foundry Control Plane. There was a full session on it. I encourage you to watch that recording later. But now, actually, we wanted to do a customer spotlight, and let's bring Gerald onto the stage so we can learn how Commerzbank is using enterprise superpowers to transform banking. Here you go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Gerald.
Okay. So it's so exciting to be here because we introduced the first time our avatar approach at the Ignite in Seattle 2 years ago. And now we are live more than half a year. And we not only see a very intensive usage of Ava, but we see the usage of Ava across all ages. So it's not an application for digital natives only, but it's really used by all ages. And this is the principal idea. But before we step deeper into our avatar approach and agentic AI, let's have a quick look where we are, who we are. So Commerzbank is the leading bank in Germany for mid-sized companies and a very strong partner for retail customers. We follow a strategy which very focused on digital transformation, and AI is one of our key elements and cornerstones. The Avatar is our frontrunner project for the usage of transactional Gen AI together with Avatar technology. The principal idea was to build a bridge between the digital and the personal worlds, because we see in the last years that we increased our digital services and products, but sometimes the customers missed something. Sometimes digital products are not enough, and here Ava comes into play to realize a human interaction, the feeling to talk to a human in the banking app. And by this, and by the usage of Gen AI, and in a transactional manner, we really realized a new, complete new customer experience. Ava offers a 24/7 expert knowledge, expert banking knowledge without waiting time. So for different topics and questions, you don't have to go to the branch or phone anybody, but Ava has the answer for you. These patterns for solution are very different. In many cases, Ava simply gives the answer to a question for the customer. In other cases, Ava redirects the customer to the requested position in the app. For example, you don't know where to find the postbox in our app, so Ava can bring you exactly to the right position. In addition to that, in many cases, we produce for the customer PDF for downloads to read it a little bit more in detail later on. And we realized the first set of end-to-end processes, which are secret via two-factor authorization, which is very used and very common to our customers. But there are also certain cases where Ava says it's better to forward to a human agent and to a human colleague to do a better, let's say, advisory than she can do. And this is also part of our approach. The realization of Ava was really an amazing journey, and it was not only a combination of technology, but in many cases a rethinking of banking. So for example, we realized more or less a complete credit card lifecycle in our banking app in Ava, which starts with the ordering of a credit card, with changing of limits, with blocking, unlocking the credit card, with the possibility to set security patterns, and also the offering of help if you are losing, if the credit card is lost or you have theft with the credit card. In addition to that, you also can replace the credit card via 𝗲𝗲. Behind the scenes, we have 6 core components of 𝗲𝗲, which starts with German actress as digitalized person, and there have been a very long discussion in the project whether a digitalized person is better or a virtual character. But for our customers, it was very clear that there's more trust with a digitalized person. In addition to that, we are using Gen AI and agentic AI, and we will speak a little bit more about this later. Then we have a very strong content safety suite. You can imagine as a bank that content safety and compliance is one of our core components and a mandatory function for us. We have validated banking knowledge. I think it's clear that we do not use internet and we do not use intranet. So it's completely separated, completely validated, with just the sources and grounding for 𝗲𝗲. We have different connections to our backend applications. In this, we are able to answer customer-specific questions like the interest rates or what is your account balance. You can search for different transactions and so on. And last but not least, we have a continuous monitoring and reporting. And in addition to that, we have an agent, a security agent, which is the whole time 24/7 monitoring any critical customer action. And if the customer action is occurring, we have a second one doing the reasoning, and if both agents say we have an alert situation, then we directly call our on-call service. On this slide, you see the architectural main components. You see we have different Azure communication services, we are using cognitive services, we are using AI Foundry, the agent framework, and also a very strong analytic suite, inclusive fabric. As for real characters, also 𝗲𝗲 is doing a strong and huge transformation coming from an Gen AI application and is right now transformed into an agentic application. But often everybody's speaking about agents. I think that the main topic and the main advantage is if you are working with agents, you invent the wheel only once. Because if you have an application, for example, we have an agent for accounts, then you can use this agent and this account agent across the company. You only have to build it one time. You can use it from different applications. You are sure and ensure that you give always the same answer to the customer for one specific question. And you are very really faster because you have to build it only one time. And at the end of the game, you are more efficient and reduce costs. If you see yesterday and today, everybody's talking about agents. And sometimes there are different, let's say, opinions, meanings. And on this slide, you see 2 dimensions. So the first one is the development method coming from no code, low code, or pro code. And on the other side, you have the capability of the agent for starting with retrieval or task or autonomous. Our security agent would be a task agent on a more or less lower level, and 𝗲𝗲 is more an advanced level, but she's not an autonomous agent from my point of view because she's not doing the complete banking. Maybe one day, but right now he is acting on behalf of the customer and not completely on himself. If you speak about agents, you will see that you increase the amount of agents you have. In a very short time, you have 100 agents, or maybe you have one day 500 agents. And for this, the compliance topics, the agent identity are very key. And therefore, the announced Entra ID approach and the control plane are very key and can simplify this challenge, because this will be the challenge of the future. How to manage, how to administrate an agentic fleet in a very easy and very lean manner. Otherwise, you get lost. The other question is always what comes next. But before we speak about what comes next, let's have a quick look, where do we come from? we all started with applications with Gen AI in a more or less single manner. Then we see applications building and using agents. So the next logical step, and the first use cases are in life and we see in the market, are cross-company usage of agents. And then the next logical step could be, and this is a little bit the future, the agentic ecosystem. So in this, for example, the e-commerce initiative is one of the possible use cases. You can imagine you have a shopping agent. And on my way to this building, I saw many Christmas trees and glitter balls and so on. So Christmas is appearing. And if you would have a shopping agent, you would get a better, let's say, better results concerning your Christmas presents in a faster way, in an easier way, and maybe more fitting. But since this is the future and the agent is not there, don't forget to buy your present early enough to feel comfortable with them. This was a quick look about the future. So thank you very much for your attention. And should you have any questions, don't hesitate.
Thanks, Gerald. I could have used Ava when I kept losing my credit card before I figured out how to put it on my phone. Actually, one of the questions that we had for Commerzbank, especially as a European bank, you operate in a regulated space, right? So what advice would you give to other customers in your position using Foundry or other agentic tools?
I think this is one of the most asked questions. How do you cope with these challenges in a regulatory, let's say, environment? One, I think we have there were three success factors for us. So the first one, we have had a great team spirit. We are sure we will manage and be successful with this task. The next way was, in our bank, we have 3 lines of defense model. And we immediately involved the second line from the very beginning, which is compliance, which is data security, which is also fraud prevention, and also our legal department. And so we didn't start, realized something, and at the end come to the security guys, but we started directly with them. And this was very important for us to achieve the results. And the third one was we had a very good partnership with Microsoft and tools we used, different suites which already exist. So it's not possible to reinvent everything if you are doing such a great task to realize a banking avatar.
That makes a lot of sense. So what's next for Commerzbank? I saw the multi-agent systems on that slide. How do you see it transforming your business in the next year or so?
I think that's a very good question. And to be honest, it's very hard and very difficult to see the future. But from my point of view, the agentic network and also the cross-company usage of agent is very key. And together with this question, there will come up questions about the security. Will it be an open network, or do we secure the network? And do we, let's say, have some procedures before you're entering this network? I think this will be very decisive and very important for the success of the next months and years.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, as you've seen, probably across many presentations at Ignite, agents are here. And hopefully we've shown you today, like, maybe you could become the manager of your own fleet of these agents. But truly, I hope today you've not just seen what's possible, but you feel confident stepping into the future with us. And today, we've gone through a series of enterprise superpowers we have in Microsoft Foundry. With Foundry, you can pick the setup that best fits your compliance and security needs. You can provide agent controls or tool-level controls to ensure your agents are doing what you program them to do. You could securely publish your agents to your internal teams and interact with them on the interfaces where you do all your work, like Outlook, Teams, and more. And then finally, you can govern your fleet at scale with the Foundry Control Plane. And this all comes together with agent identity, because without a secure, governed identity, no agent can truly operate in an enterprise setting. Thank you all. And our call to action, please go to the Expert Hub if you have any questions. There's a ton of resources there. And yeah, there'll be a recording on the website.
Awesome. Thanks, Maria. Yeah, live demos, nice.
I know.
Yeah.